we're excited to be here.
Yeah.
At least I am. Sarah, I know
I'm
is too. To talk about sales tax. Now, sales tax can be intimidating. It can be complex. Frankly, it is complicated. I think the states and the cities and the government in general does a really good job of confusing the public.
Yes,
so,
that's their goal.
that being said, Chalk Couture wants to be the company that makes it easy for you. And so, knowing that you have a lot of concerns, questions about sales tax, am I doing it right? Am I going to go to prison? All of those things, we want to make sure that you feel comfortable and confident in processing orders and to keep in compliance with sales tax regulations. So, that is our purpose. We know that it can be difficult and challenging, but we're here to make it easy on you. Please know that Chalk Couture is your umbrella in the rainstorm of sales tax. We want to, we will file on your behalf. You don't have to have a sales tax license to sell. You don't need to do those other things. You don't need to jump through the hoops. You don't need to hire an accountant to handle your sales tax filings. Now, if you already have a sales tax license, an exemption certificate, and those things, you're running a business outside of Chalk Couture, you still have to deal with those things. However, for the vast majority of you, you want to chalk, and you want to sell, and you want to make money, and so we're going to do our very best to make it as easy as possible for you. And provide that layer of comfort and keep you out of the rain, so to speak, with your sales tax. So, with that being said, we're going to take you through this lovely document. This document hopefully will provide you with the comfort that you need to run your business. From everyone from those that join, brand new, they'll know what to do, and as a quick reference guide for those of you who are seasoned sellers in Chalk Couture.
Right, it's the flow of sales tax.
Yeah, that's it. So, to introduce this, and then Sarah and I are going to take turns taking you through each example. What we do is we have 5 ways to sell or use inventory. You generally, the state and cities want to charge sales tax when you sell an item. That is what they are tasked to do. And it is our task to remit those sales tax appropriately. In our business, we have 5 different ways in which to do that. The easiest one, Sarah, do you want to talk about the easiest one?
Yeah, so the easiest one is using your Chalk site. When you send a customer to your website with your username.chalkcouture.com, sales tax is collected at that time of sale. So there's nothing that you have to do. It triggers an event in our system, and the company that we partner with that handles all the sales tax, they timely remit them and timely file them appropriately. So there's nothing that the designer has to do for your part. So it makes it super easy.
Yep. So that's simple. And you mentioned something that's very important. I am not a sales tax expert, so to speak. I represent the company and understand what the company needs to do. But I can't give advice because that's not my role. However, the company has engaged a firm that handles that. In fact, they're a CPA firm that handles the sales tax for many direct selling companies. Direct selling companies are unique in the sales tax world. We have specific regulations that we have to follow and meet. And so we've engaged this firm to handle this for us. For example, in this first example of the Chalk site sale, the sales tax rate is calculated or pulled by depending on where the customer lives. So wherever that package is going to be delivered, that is the rate that is used. And this partner of ours, this certified public accountant firm, they provide the rate. So our system reaches out to their system, it retrieves the rate based on the address. Okay, so we don't have to keep track of that. We rely on truly the expert to manage that, to make sure that you know that you're paying the right rate. Okay? So, in this document, again, I'm going to reiterate, you can't see it necessarily, and that's not the point, but we are going to be pointing to it so that as you watch this video, you can follow along with the document that you pull up at the same time, okay? So this first one is fairly easy. On the far left, we're going to show you the steps, and then you have your different transaction types through the rest of the document. So Sarah already covered the chalk site sale. I'll talk about now the second way in which you can use your inventory or sell it, is literally reselling the inventory you purchased in the same way that you received it. So this is if I purchase a jar of chalk paste, I don't open it and use it first, I basically take that jar and then I resell it to a customer. So that is this next transaction type. Now what this does, from the resell Chalk Couture product to customer all the way through the rest, this first step is the same. And that first step is you need to purchase inventory. You do that through your designer back office. I think most of you are familiar with that process. The new ones may need help knowing that, but that's the basic step. So after you have acquired this inventory, you need to then determine how you're going to use it. So we're going to resell it. So now you have two different platforms to use. You can either use the app, which is the Chalk Shop, and we encourage you to use that because that is the easiest or the most simple way to do it. It has the fewest steps. And I'll talk about the reason why in a minute. The other way is through your designer office through a custom order. So let's say I just had a cash transaction, I didn't have the app with me for whatever reason. I sold it, I took cash. I need to go into my designer back office and place this custom order. And there's a few different ways. I'm not going to talk through all the detail of this. Sarah will talk about a few things. But as you go through, you sell it, you collect payment. Sales tax is based upon, instead of the retail price, whatever the customer pays is the customer price. And if you use the app, then you're done. Sales tax is collected through the app, we remit. And before Sarah talks a little bit more detail about this, I just wanted to make one statement that's more of an assurance. When a transaction happens that triggers a sales tax event, Chalk Couture takes that transaction and remits the sales tax from that at the appropriate reporting time. In the case of not using the app or custom order or taking cash, where there's a step where you need to go into the e-wallet, and Sarah, you can talk about that in a minute, but when that happens, we don't wait for you to pay it. We remit so that we stay in compliance, and thus you stay in compliance with sales tax authorities, and you don't have to worry about that. Now you just need to go in and pay the tax liability. So Sarah, talk a little bit about Splash, if you could, and the other processes.
Right, so in the designer office and in your Chalk Shop and your designer office, there's really two types of payment. There's the credit card payment, in which you need to be signed up with Splash Payments. It's Chalk Couture's credit processor. When your customer pays with their credit card, portion of it goes into your bank account, and the sales tax portion is split out and is sent to the sales tax bank account, at which time this other company will then file and remit it. If they've paid cash or any other non-Splash payments method, then that accrues into your e-wallet, at which time you need to go into your e-wallet to pay that balance. And we recommend that you do that about monthly. You should do these custom orders while they're fresh on your mind and just do some quick housekeeping. But as far as paying the e-wallet balance, doing that monthly is just wonderful. And those amounts are remitted to the state the moment the custom order or the order on the Chalk Shop is placed. And then you're just reimbursing Chalk Couture when you pay off your e-wallet balance. That's
exactly right, which is such a great benefit. I mean, we can offer what very few direct seller companies do. And that is, we're going to sell to you at wholesale, so that saves you cash. We're not going to charge you sales tax until you use it or sell it. What that means is I'm not going to pay the retail price or the sales tax based on retail price and then try to recapture it later on when I resell it. So it helps with cash flow, it makes you more profitable, and hopefully easier to do business, especially as you follow this nice process. Okay, so Sarah, talk about personal use.
Yes, the next type of use for your inventory is oftentimes putting it in your own home or taking it to your work environment. You put your chalkboard up on your wall and you change it out and use those products for yourself. So that's considered personal use. So the way that you need to do this is going to your designer office and going through a custom order. At the bottom you'll see personal use. When you click on that button, it will charge you sales tax based upon the wholesale price of the products. And I think it's really important to note here is that if you've used designer dollars on a product, you still have to pay the use tax, which is very similar to sales tax. You as the end user are now paying for that product, not purchasing it for a wholesale purpose.
Right.
You have to pay the use tax still. So those, it kind of checks out like a cash order when you do it. There's not anything collected at that moment. You go into your e-wallet during your monthly e-wallet payoff and pay that all in one nice little lump sum.
We've taken you through this. We're excited to be able to share this with you. You can see it and you can love it. I think it'll be a great help as you give you comfort and help you know exactly what to do with sales tax and not be afraid of it.
Right.
I think it'll be good.
So if you have inventory that's currently sitting in that you have previously sold, quickly do some spring cleaning and get that all cleaned up so that you can start 2018 where you can stay on top of it and keep inventory tidy.
Yeah, you know, you're all running a business. Really, you are. And with every business, especially with in a retail setting, people are laughing in this room.
What's going on?
You guys are awesome!
As you're running a business, businesses need to reconcile or clean up their inventory monthly, and so that is best practice in the business world. It's going to be best practice for you to follow as well. But we also encourage you to do it as you go. Don't wait till the last minute, because those things, it's just like doing laundry. You want to keep up with it. If you get behind, then your life is miserable for a few days. So same kind of idea. Just keep up with it and do the cleanup monthly. Okay, so
Go sales tax!
go sales tax, yay! Do we have any questions that we need answering, or are we okay?
None that have shown up yet that we haven't
Angie?
been able to answer real time.
Do you want to answer about the refunds?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Do we want to answer?
Oh,
questions?
and also address where the inventory adjustment form is and how that works. That's a biggie.
Oh, okay, so the inventory adjustment form, I assume we can link it just even in this PDF document.
Yep.
There'll also be a link to it in the email. So there'll probably also be a link in maybe business documents.
Yep. We'll put it in today's weekly update, and we can put it in every weekly update like we do with the product retirement and
that's a good
inventory
idea.
information. And that way it's just always there
Yeah.
so that every week you can have quick access to it.
Yeah, so then the form will just take you right through that process. It's pretty easy, breezy, lemon
Yeah.
squeezy.
Yes.
Adjustment for returns.
Oh, returns. So I think it would kind of depend, and designer services will be able to take you right through that process. If you email them and say, returning this product, I have paid sales tax on it, they should be able to take you through the process.
Yeah, and encourage you for any of your specific questions to contact Designer Services. I will mention one more thing before we get to maybe some more questions. There are many, it's actually a minority of the group, but there are many who have expressed that they have a sales tax exempt form. They have a sales tax certificate in the state in which they reside, and they may have had a business prior, they run a boutique or something, and so they're required to file taxes, and it's been expressed that they would like for us to recognize those exemption certificates. We're currently building a process to do that, and so we will have that available. And as of right now, though, we would encourage you to speak with the Designer Services as it relates to those questions, and we will have that process there for you. The cool thing about our provider, our sales tax partner, is that they house that information. They help to manage it so that we can stay in compliance.
A related question, we had the question earlier about where we find the inventory adjustment form, which you answered. And the question that's followed up on that is, does that mean that inventory that you adjust out then is exempt from sales tax? Can you answer how that works?
Inventory that is adjusted out.
It is not exempt.
Right, it is not exempt. It is just a way for you to show where that inventory went. It's a way for you to get it off
Oh.
of your
okay, yeah,
inventory
right.
record.
Right. It's not exempt, it's just essentially converted.
Yeah, you've used it.
Yeah,
So
you've
it's not
used it.
showing up.
Yep, that's exactly right. Sorry, I don't know that I understood the question.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I don't think I phrased it very well. That was my bad.
Okay, any other questions?
Oh, can you talk about charging taxes for make and takes? So when you are doing a create and take, the question is, does the tax occur where you are buying the make and take, where you are doing the make and take? Talk about how geography, where you hold the class, impacts how you collect taxes.
Do you want to take it?
Yeah, so direct sales companies often run into this great word called nexus, which means where the product is being handed to the customer is where sales tax should be collected, which is the great part about this company that we partner with is you put in the address of where you're at, you put in the address on your app, and it automatically collects the correct sales tax for that place, which is the great thing about this system, because maybe your sales tax is 9%, but where you're going to is only 7%. You would lose out on that percentage of sales tax because you're not going to be able to totally reimburse that for yourself. So that's the great thing. It's accurate and it saves you money.
And
Yeah.
you do not need to know
And you
what
don't
the
need to know.
local sales
No.
tax rate is. All you need to know is where you are.
Yep. Put the address in of where your create and take is or where your expo event is. Anywhere that you're handing the customer the product
That's
is
exactly right.
where is what you'll be charged the sales tax on.
Perfect. I think those are some of the biggest questions that we've
Okay.
received. Thank you for your thoughtful questions.